Hello, I'm Phil Sexton. Today's tutorial is on the life cycle of your book. And what we mean by life cycle is from initial printing stage to getting on the shelf at a bookstore, all the way to really the end of the book's life in a print format. And we're going to talk about how that happens, why it happens, and what you can do about it. So first, let's break it down into stages. You have birth, which is essentially the period during which your book is being printed. It's when editorial is putting the finishing touches on the manuscript, design is finishing up the cover, the back panel of the book that has all the sales copy. It goes to the printer, and really everybody is giving it lots of TLC. Everybody wants it to be the best book in the catalog. Editors take a lot of ownership over the books they work on, as do the designers. And so it's at this point when it's being printed and everybody's waiting for those first samples to come into the office that anticipation and excitement is kind of at its highest. They want to see what it looks like. Adolescence is really that period where the book is being purchased by different accounts, and it's being shipped to those accounts. It's being received, it's being redistributed. And by that, what I mean is the publisher is either shipping the book, or the book is being picked up by an account, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, an independent bookstore, that sort of thing. In the case of a large account like Barnes & Noble or Amazon, they're picking up the book. They're shipping it to their distribution center. The distribution center then receives the book into inventory and redistributes it out to their stores. So it can take up to a month between the time your book arrives at the publisher's warehouse to the time it starts to hit bookstore shelves. So that can be a little while. Now, what we would consider adulthood is when the book is on the shelf, and then it's a matter of who is seeing your book. And by that we mean the consumer, but we also mean when it gets into the hands of booksellers, what are they doing with the book? Are they supporting the book? What kind of position are they giving the book? Position meaning, is it face out on the shelf? Is it on display? Those sorts of things. So we're going to talk about that. Old age, signs of old age, when the book starts to slow down, and what happens when it starts to slow down, and then death or rebirth. What happens to a book when it perhaps goes out of print, or there is no print edition left, and what is the future of books when it comes to this period. So first, we're going to start with birth. Now, birth is painful, and by that we mean, writing a book, first off, is a lot of work. You know that better than anybody. There's a lot of joy involved, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work on the part of editorial. It's a lot of work on the part of design and layout. And you're putting in maybe 9 months, maybe more, maybe 2 years into a book. Then there's editing and rewriting, and you're arguing perhaps with an editor over the content. And at the end of the day, you don't always get what you want. Editors sometimes win the argument over what to do with content. Sometimes the cover is not in your control. The layout is not in your control. And self-publishing is the only way to have absolute control over all those options, unless you're a very well-established author. And even in that case, sometimes authors don't know well enough what they should do in terms of cover and the best decisions to make in terms of content. It's always good to listen to a designer and an editor who really know their business, because frankly they may know better than you. In addition, the other thing to know about is that from the publisher's standpoint, while your book may be very, very important to them, and they're going to shower it with a lot of TLC during this process, when it gets printed, there are a lot of other books that they have to deal with at the same time. So they're going to try, and when it's in the production stage and when it's in the printing stage, that's, and the early days of publication, that's when it's going to get the most attention. But the thing you have to realize is that there are perhaps 10 or 20 or 40 or 60 other books on the list all pubbing at the same time. And everybody wants the same kind of attention. So you have to realize that your book isn't the only one that they're looking at. And it's to your advantage to be aware of how much attention they're giving your book and how long that attention is going to last.